I've talked with a lot of your White Lotus castmates, and one of the most fun tidbits that I've heard was from Michelle, who said that you are the best water aerobics instructor. And I was like, I'm going to need to ask Leslie about that. She mentioned it's the way that you all bonded, which I think is very fun. But tell me about your water aerobics background.
I do water aerobics. Everybody makes fun of me because it's not your grandma's water aerobics, right? It's like very hard. I was in the pool today doing it. It's very, very hard. It's high and you work your butt off. We had these beautiful villas, and I was living with Carrie, and Michelle was living with Parker, and it's so it's hot, and then you have this luxurious villa you're living in and a pool, and we have to be in bathing suits all the time. And I was like, guys, I'm going to get in the pool and do water aerobics. And they're like, what? And I was like, come in. And then we started doing it. And they were like, oh my God, this is so fun. So wherever I was, there's a video somewhere on my Instagram, and it's me. I had like, I went to the market and I bought pool noodles, and I have gloves, and I have all my accoutrement and bands and stuff. And Michelle and Carrie and I are all equally anti-sun and very pro SPF. So we would only do water aerobics either first thing in the morning before the sun came up, like really before the sun came up, or at the end of the day when the sun was down.
Talking with Parker, she mentioned how in their initial conversation, he told her he saw Victoria as like a younger version of Big Edie from Grey Gardens. And I'm wondering if he gave you any kind of reference point for Kate.
He said two things. One was a little daunting, but I knew the job that I needed to do for Kate to make her impactful. He said, her arc is slight, but if we do our job right, it will be very impactful. It's daunting because you want something that's obvious. And he was like, but if we do it right. And I think we did, because Mike texted me after, like when he was in editing, he was like, we did it right. We did it right. We did it. And I became very protective of my Kate, because I saw the complexity of her, which could be really, I think, minimized. And I also saw that, like, I saw her vulnerability, and I saw how her insecurity, which I thought was really important to come through for her, because I felt like she gets dismissed a lot, and she gets dismissed within the women a lot, and I think she's always she's almost like if they were sisters, and I sort of played them instead of friends. It felt like sisters to me. I find that dynamic very interesting. It felt like she would have been the baby, looking up to them, like really trying to always impress them and mirror them, because mirrors are an important imagery in this season. And so, like, when she's with one, she sort of morphs with that one. And she's with this one, she morphs with that one. I knew the job at hand was going to be challenging. And then he said to me, when we were in the meeting, he said, I want you to do an Enneagram test. And I said, right now? And he's like, yeah. He's like, because Kate's a perfectionist, and I know you're a perfectionist. I'm like, I'm not a perfectionist. He's like, oh yeah, you're going to be like an 843 or something like that. And I was like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. And then cut to, I'm doing the test. Like, we're doing our Zoom, and then I'm like on the side doing the test. And he's like, what are you? And I was like, I'm a fucking 843. I'm a perfectionist. He's exactly. He was like, I think that's the key to Kate, which was very in line with her. And that just, I think, was like the platform with which or the diving board I started to bounce on.
Yeah.
Every time before I dove into a pool for a scene, we're really tying this back to swimming pool reference.
I know.
But it really was the thing for her perfectionism, her need to keep things perfect, her need for control. We do that because we're scared people won't accept us for who we are. Right. And I knew with Kate that there was going to be easy to put her into a box and be like, oh, you're that girl. And I think it did happen, because people come up to me all the time and they were like, why am I rooting for her? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, she makes me crazy, but I also rooting for her and I like her. And I was like, okay, we did it. We did it. We did it. You know, Mike likes the edges. He doesn't like what fits in here. And that's what Kate seems like, right? She seems like you could put her in that box. And I was like, no, she's a Mike White character. She's got lots of edges. You just have to see those edges. And if we do our job, we start coloring outside the lines of it.
I feel like sometimes, we can see you as Kate, like, she's thinking through what she's saying. Like, she's not judging, like, she's actually like kind of processing and thinking. And I think that makes you sort of really relate to her and see it's not coming from like a callous place. Like, it's
no, she's in real time. You're seeing her process and the complexity, which is, I think, human and what we're all doing. And like, she's taking it in and thinking, if I respond this way, what's going to happen? I love that about her. I love that because I think that's what a lot of us do in life. And sometimes, and thank God for Mike and his editing that he likes to show that. I mean, everyone's like, the way you listen to them is so dynamic. And I was like, oh, that's such a nice compliment because that's what acting is. It's listening and responding honestly in the moment. And if you say it's hard to listen, like sometimes you say as actors, it's like, it's really hard to fucking be in the moment and listen and answer honestly. Like when there's a camera on you, it just is.
And I think one of the scenes obviously everyone talks about is the final dinner scene with the friends. Yeah. And again, that's another, scene where you're doing a lot of the listening of Carrie's incredible monologue. And just like whatever she says, but actually I've been like, whatever she said, like, been really sad. And you're just like, oh, like you can feel it like hitting you in the chest. Like this is like opening this up. And I'm just wondering, I know you mentioned you were rooming with Carrie. Was that anything, did you guys talk about that scene beforehand? Or?
That scene is a really important scene. Carrie, Michelle, and I all have very similar work ethics. And, we always write, we would bang lines, like just run them, just drill them, but never, we kind of like to keep it fresh for between action and cut, but we'd always were prepared. That scene, we didn't run that much. I remember we were all three very connected that day. And I felt very tethered to the two of them that day. And it was a very strange day. I don't know why. It was like, because we weren't like, but there was a space being held, I think, emotionally between the three of us. For me, I do emotional preps, even if it's a comedy, even if it's something, even if it's like a small scene, I'm doing like a prep, I'm doing my homework. My script looks like a serial killer's like, notes. Like there, it's just not, I mean, we all sort of have like, Carrie doesn't, like hers are cleaner than mine, but like we all carry our scripts like Bibles held to our hearts. From everybody's coverage, whatever way we were covering for the entire day, I remember not doing a big emotional prep for that day. I just remember feeling like we're locked in, the three of us. And every take, whether it's for Michelle's or for Carrie's or for mine, I remember being we were all alive. We were all like, our wells were not drying up. And you know what I mean? And usually after a certain point, you're like, your body, your nervous system just goes, I can't. Your nervous system starts to raise a white flag. Like, it's too much. It's too much. And it was like 6 hours we shot that scene or something. And like, we all were very connected. And I think that scene is very impactful and is as moving as it is because of the work all three of us did, and the attention to detail and the attention to one another we had. And then at the end, every time I couldn't stop myself, I improvised this I love you, which then set off this Carrie saying I love you, which then set off Michelle saying I love you. And this thing that happened, which was not in the script, but I'm so glad they kept it because it felt like this. I do feel like the scene needed it because it also just, I think it was like the release of the three of us together because we are such a triangle and it's such a trio and one of us doesn't exist without the other. I mean, it is part of the storyline that one, who are we without these other two? And what happens when one breaks off. But that scene, I was really, really proud of the work Michelle did, Carrie did, like, and the connection of all of it.
People talk about, why does that storyline resonate so much?
I think there's this thing that women too are ingrained in us that I'm not sure is ingrained subconsciously to men. And this isn't a man bashing thing. I just think there's this thing that women are told that they can do it all. Oh, well, your women are great at multitasking. Women can do this. You can do all the things and do it well. You can raise the kids. You can be a great friend. You can be a great mom. You can be this. You can be this. You can be. And we're sort of told that. And then we're also sort of ingrained this competition. I feel like women unconsciously is just driven in. It's like a record player in our head. These grooves are so deep that's just sort of subliminally pushed in over time. And I'm really interested in with women, and I think it's even starting because women, like young women, are like, oh yeah, we see what you guys are trying to do. We're not into it, which I think is so cool about young women sort of changing the narrative. But like, I really love witnessing women in their 30s and in their 40s going, oh, that's exhausting. Oh, this is exhausting. And really leaning into vulnerability with their friends. If Jacqueline and Lori and Kate had come in from the jump and been like, my marriage isn't great. Guys, I don't know how happy I really am in Austin. And I'm like, I love being a mom, but like, it's all I am. And you know, I don't really have anything. I just have Dave's life and I live by Carrie, you know, and if, you know, Lori was like, I just got fired or this, if everybody had just come in and risked that and not been so presentational, what a different trip it would be.
And I feel like with Kate, there's that scene, obviously the Trump scene is another one that the Trump dinner scene, everyone talks about. And that's her. You mentioned the mirrors, like that's, she's not seeing herself obviously across the table from the liberal New York and LA person. And I think you said that was your audition scene, maybe that's the one that you read.
Yeah. That was my audition scene.
So what was that when you got that? Like, what did that inform for you about, Kate and what did you want to bring out in that? Because it ended up being obviously just memes and just, but also a big talking point.
I felt like, wow, Mike took in he has this amazing ability, right? To sort of take a scene that seems almost, not that it's benign, but like you're just talking like, oh, I think about this. And you're talking, it seems very like, I go to church. It's very, very flippant, right? But it's like, that's what Mike does. He sort of takes everything that sort of seems surface, that it's everything that's happening underneath here. Like, it's what you're not saying is what is being said. I've never seen a show quite like the way Mike's shows are, that what you're saying is never what you're saying. It's underneath that. And so when I read it, I just thought, I knew that there was like a well to sort of mine. There was just like a cave to mine of like what was really being said versus what was being said. It also made me laugh because I just thought, this is the conversation everybody is having in the world, not just in America, in the world, because politics, we don't have the politics of like, there's no sort of across the aisle anymore. It's very like black or white, like everything is so polarized. And I remember feeling very excited about it.
I did want to talk about just the costuming, because I read as well that it was your choice to have Kate switch into pajamas when she goes back to the pool. And I admit, like, that whole scene with the guys coming back, I was very uneasy. Like, I was like, something bad is going to happen this night. Like, watching it, it was just, I was very uncomfortable. So I was definitely the Kate in that situation. But yes, so if you could talk about just the decision with the pajamas there, and then it made me wonder if there were other costume decisions that you had a little role in that we should be aware of.
Well, I feel like all costumes, because to me, costumes are, they're all like hair, makeup, costumes are so, for me as an actor, very important. But costumes are really important to me. I'm obsessive about like everything I wear is thought out. There's not, from me going, like realizing that like I wanted her wardrobe to feel like she bought a new wardrobe. Like Mike was like, what's happening? And I was like, it's I because something had randomly popped up on my Instagram right before, and I was like, oh, that's Kate. That's Kate. It's like your phone listens to, but it was talking about, it was a story about how women go and buy all new wardrobes when they go on vacation, and then they never wear the clothes ever again. And I was like, that's Kate. That's exactly what she's like. Yeah, I remember the day of this, we were doing it. I woke up. Wouldn't it be funny? A very passive aggressive way to say, get out of my house is to put on your pajamas. But in her mind, they're fun pajamas because, so when I went, I said to Alex, our costume designer, what am I wearing? She's like, oh, you're just wearing the dress. And I was like, no, I want to wear pajamas. She's like, oh, but Mike, and I went to Mike and I pitched him the idea and he was like, great, do it. So then I came back and I was like, let's look at the pajamas. And then I saw, because they're long sleeve, they're too hot for like, they were like long sleeve, but I felt like I wanted to have like a barrier between them. I didn't want it to feel like shorts or sexy or inviting. I wanted it to feel like get out. And but yet still say party. So they have like champagne and airplanes on them. Like, so it's like, I'm here for the party. I'm fun, Kate. So it just felt passive aggressive, but also like get out. And I don't know. I think it was a really nice, subtle. I mean, that's what you're constantly looking for in those scenes, or like subliminal things. And I love that people really got that about the pajamas. Like, people walked up to me and like, oh, girl, you in your pajamas by the pool.
Yeah. And with the water gun scene, it sort of felt like almost like a Sex in the City like scene to me with the girls. Like you kind of felt like it was like if Samantha, I sort of felt like Kate was in like a Samantha outfit and she was, there and just kind of like standing out. And then it is so funny because like you say, then she doesn't actually want to, really deep down stand out. But okay, so
I didn't want to go. I want to be doing yoga. I said we could just do yoga, and they were like, no. And then I was like, okay, this tight smile. It's a tight smile of like, I'm here to party, but I really inside want to be at home in my bed and feel safe. I made a choice. Every meal I have, if you look at like, so stupid. The props department were like, Leslie, are you kidding me? And I was like, no, this is the truth. Rock out with this. I only have fruit that has a rind on it. So like it's watermelon or like an orange, stuff that's not washed. Like, so I never with the skin, because I feel like Kate showed up with like her entire like CVS. Like she has like, if something goes wrong, you can go to Kate's room and she'll have it. And then at dinner, all I eat is boiled chicken and rice because I think she's so scared. And I never have a drink that has ice in it. It'll be rosé. And that's it. So, like, because those people who go on vacation who are so scared, they don't experience it. And I was like, oh, that's Kate. So they were like, so I never have a curry. She never, it's so like slight, but I just knew that was Kate. Like, she's so scared and she's all about control, that the reason her curiosity gets dialed down is because she doesn't know what could happen. And if something went sideways, and let's just say diarrhea was the thing, and she missed out on something, she couldn't bear missing out.
Yeah.
So like all those things. And then at the end, they're like, okay, I get it. I get why, because it's all from like a fear response and a control response and a perfection, which was what Mike said from the jump. She's a perfectionist.
Yeah. Lori gives that little tidbit at one of the dinners about how Jacqueline was like flirting with Kate's husband at her wedding, at Lori's wedding. And it was like, then we never heard that again. And it definitely seemed like Kate, like heard that. Was that anything you all discussed? Like, what really do we think like went down?
I didn't want to discuss that because I think that's like, should be happening authentically between the three of us. I between takes, I went between two. I like to give different things. So I for sure played, is that true? And is Jacqueline lying to me? And then also the thing of the betrayal that Lori would throw me under the bus like that. It just felt so hurtful that, like, when you get backed into a corner, you turn on me and I'm the only person. I'm the one who's watching out for you. I'm the one who, when you don't come home, I'm the one who's texting you. I show up for you. So it felt like a very, it felt very big that moment. And I hope it seemed as big because it felt like a real betrayal, regardless of truth or not. It felt like a betrayal. I'm the only fucking person who shows up for either one of you, and you're using me as a pawn. When someone's poisoning the well, it felt so Shakespearean too, right? Like just poisoning the well just a little bit so that suddenly I look at Jacqueline and I know that she does like that. And I know Jacqueline's things, but I would never think that she would do that with Dave. But did she? Like that thing of the poisoning of the well felt so complex and so yeah.
Yeah.
It felt like a juicy moment. I mean, Mike gives you those juicy moments. That
And then last thing here is I know you talked with Seth Meyers about a deleted scene, about a
dream sequence.
Yes, and now is there anything more you can tell us? Because I know just obviously Mike puts things in for a reason. They, especially dreams, they tell us something maybe that we,
Yeah, there was so much, the dream sequence was what I was supposed to be dreaming of. And then I wake up and I get out of that dream and then I walk out onto my patio and I then hear them talking shit about me. Mike was like, you get a dream sequence and Victoria gets a dream sequence. He's always like parsoning out like, here's your candy, here's your candy. It was just a delicious dream sequence about ping pong balls and I think about Kate's version of control and her necessity to be seen. And then the girls are dressed like me. It just felt like you were reaching into her psyche and Kate's, like the depths of her sort of fear and her need to be seen by them. So they're dressed like her. So at this dinner, like everybody's frozen. So it felt very like Shining-esque. Like that was also like a cool element. So it was kind of like horrific in a way, but then also titillating. And we were all wearing the same dress because we would make this comment that everyone used to confuse us and get us confused. And then it was like, I felt like it was like they were seeing me and I was seeing them and they were dressed like me for once, instead of me feeling like them. And then people came over with ping pongs and it was a ping pong show and her fear. And then Valentin was there doing like the test that I was so scared of. And so it was all like, you could see all of her anxiety was like about the trip was coming out into the thing. And everybody was watching me. And I think like she wants to be seen, but also she doesn't want to be looked at that much because she's so scared that what if it's not perfect? Will they still love me? Will people still think I'm cool? Will it be? Because what I say it to Parker. Like when I'm like, we were at the wedding together, we did this. And then she doesn't remember me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm memorable. I mean, I know I'm memorable. And it's like my deep fear. And both Jacqueline and Lori are like, I don't think she remembered. I mean, it's like a little thing of like, you really see all of Kate's, the things that make her anxious and the things she is not confident about. And so I felt like the dream sequence was like ticking on all of those things. I feel like Jacqueline feel like more worldly and more savvy, and maybe, Kate doesn't feel as smart as them and doesn't feel as worldly as them and has a deep insecurity. And I think it's why the friendships are important for her. Like I think, and the girls agreed. I was like, we're on a vacation because Kate made this happen. I think I probably wanted to go to Aspen or maybe something like that. But she said, hey, let's go to Thailand. So I was like, okay, yeah. Great idea. And then I was like Googling, like, can I drink the water? She's like a great friend. And then she's like got zero curiosity, and it's like this dichotomy with Kate. Like you love her and then you like go, oh, Kate.